Greetings, my human-cursed cupcakes, and enjoy the new zoo shorts, topped with ice cream and nightmare frosting.
Can you survive a night in this frozen forest? The storm was coming. Ranger Cole's breath puffed in ghostly clouds as he trudged through the deep snow, boots sinking with every step. The forest was silent too silent. Usually the pines whispered with wind, snow shifting along branches, birds calling. But tonight, even the wind seemed afraid. He adjusted the strap of his pack, shoving the radio closer to his chest. "Cabin check." "Over," he muttered, pressing the button. Static. Nothing. The group of campers had rented the remote Cedar Creek cabin a week ago. They were supposed to leave yesterday. Reports of the brutal winter storm reaching the region had him worried. The roads were nearly impassable. And now, with no communication, he had no choice but to check in. The path was treacherous. Trees bent under the weight of ice, their branches snapping with hollow cracks. He gripped his flashlight tighter, the beam cutting through the swirling snow. Then he saw it. The cabin. It was destroyed. Shattered timbers jutted into the night sky. Walls collapsed as if some giant had torn it apart. Snow drifted over the wreckage. Cole's stomach sank as he approached, the crunch of snow underfoot deafening in the unnatural silence. Inside, or what remained of it, was worse than he could imagine. Bodies, torn, ripped apart, limbs twisted at impossible angles. The scent hit him first, coppery, metallic, thick in the cold air. Shattered remains were nailed to the wall's arms, legs, heads forming grotesque patterns. Across two trees at the edge of the clearing, red letters formed by flesh and gore spelled, "You're next." Cole staggered back, nausea rising. His radio, clutched in his shaking hand, fizzled and died with a single static pop. And then the temperature dropped. Instantly, his breath froze mid-air. The hair on the back of his neck stood straight. A low, guttural sound came from the woods, the snap of a branch, deliberate, patient. From the shadows, it emerged, massive, monstrous, the Wendigo. Its deer skull head glinted in the pale moonlight, jaw unhinged slightly, nostrils flaring. Its antlers were spiked, grotesque, stretching like a crown of death above its head. Its body was skeletal, yet horrifyingly long-limbed, sinewy muscle straining against pale, frost-bitten skin. Its eyes or hollow sockets seemed to pierce the soul. Cole barely had time to react before it lunged. Speed beyond comprehension, claws digging into snow and wood alike. He rolled, narrowly avoiding a swipe that could have torn him in half. Pain exploded in his side as talons grazed his jacket, shredding it to rags. Blood seeped through, freezing almost instantly. The forest became a nightmare. Snow flew as the Wendigo pursued, silent except for the sickening crunch of bone under its claws. Cole fired his flashlight, swinging it wildly, trying to keep the creature at bay, but nothing seemed to stop it. Branches snapped. Trees shook. The Wendigo's movements were jerky, unnatural, like a puppet with no master but pure malice. Its head twisted inhumanly as it stalked him. Cole ducked into a grove, shivering uncontrollably. He grabbed a fallen branch, his only weapon, and swung it with all his strength. It connected with a hollow crack, but the Wendigo barely flinched. It bellowed, a sound like ice cracking over deep water, and the air itself seemed to shiver. Every instinct screamed to run. Every rational thought was gone. He stumbled over a root, arms flailing, heart hammering. His flashlight skittered across the snow, illuminating a sight that made his stomach turn. Fresh blood trailing along the snow drag marks leading deeper into the forest. Cole swallowed bile and ran. Hours, or was it minutes? Time warped in the storm. Snow blinded him. He could feel the Wendigo's presence behind him, patient, waiting for the perfect moment. And then, without warning, it struck. Its antlers rammed into his side with the force of a battering ram. Cole screamed, rolling into a snowdrift. Ice shards bit into his skin, clothes soaked in blood. When he looked up, the creature was upon him, towering jaw gaping, claws poised. It tore into his shoulder, bones snapping with a sickening crunch. Blood sprayed into the air, coating snow in crimson. Cole fought, kicking and swinging, but the creature's strength was inhuman. It lifted him off the ground, eyes hollow, as if tasting fear itself. Pain erupted everywhere. Broken ribs, shattered shoulder, the world reduced to primal agony. And then it paused. The Wendigo's head cocked, listening. From somewhere distant, voices shouted rescue teams finally. Cole tried to cry out, but blood choked his scream. The creature snarled, deafening and cold, then vanished into the trees like smoke. Cole, trembling, barely conscious, slumped into the snow, trying to hold on to life. The storm was still raging, the forest still whispering, but now he knew he was not alone. And the Wendigo was still hunting. Cole barely registered the crunch of boots against snow until voices shouted above the storm. Rescue. Salvation. Or so he thought. The first team of park rangers emerged from the blizzard, flashlights slicing through the white chaos. Their radios crackled to life, static cutting through their frantic calls. Cole waved weakly, blood dripping into his frozen beard. But then the Wendigo returned. It moved with terrifying precision, leaping from treetop to treetop, landing silently, antlers scraping ice off branches. Its eyes are empty sockets, locked on the new intruders. With a guttural roar, it charged. One of the rescuers barely had time to raise a flare before the creature struck, claws raking through chest and leg, tearing flesh with sickening efficiency. Blood sprayed across snow and tree trunks like a living nightmare painting itself in red. Cole crawled to his feet, shock and pain fueling him as he grabbed a nearby flare. The creature lunged at him, swinging massive antlers. They grazed his torso, ripping jagged tears in his jacket and flesh. Pain exploded in every nerve. But he struck the flare against a rock, igniting it, and the fire seared the Wendigo's fur. It shrieked, recoiling, the smell of burning flesh mixing with the metallic tang of blood. The rescuers rallied, dragging Cole toward the snow-covered rescue truck. Behind them, the Wendigo circled, stalking, waiting. Its spiked antlers gleamed like deadly crowns, jaw unhinged, cruel freezing midair. One rescuer fired a flare gun, flames bursting onto the creature's torso. It screeched, clawing at trees, leaving streaks of blood and deep gouges in the bark. Cole coughed, blood choking him, but adrenaline surged. They reached the truck. Flames licked at the Wendigo's legs as it circled, horns scraping metal, claws digging into the snowbank. With a final ear-splitting roar, it retreated into the storm, leaving only footprints in the snow, deep gouges, and the scent of death. The team collapsed, shivering and bloodied. Cole slumped against the truck door, half conscious, staring at the dark forest. It was over, for now. Later, in the warmth of the ranger station, an old native chief shared the legend. Long ago, before the snow came and the forests froze, the Wendigo was a man, cursed by greed and hunger. His heart blackened, and he became more than human. Always hungry, always searching. The Wendigo wanders the cold forests, hunting those who trespass, devouring flesh and soul alike. Beware the winter, and beware the silence. For when you hear nothing but the wind, know that it listens, and it comes for you. Cole shivered, knowing the legend was no myth. The Wendigo was real, and it had not forgotten him or any who entered the frozen forest.